Biden is losing the young people's vote. Just 28% of young Democrats strongly approve of his job performance, and that was down from 30% since he took office. We're on this all morning long. Mornings with Maria, live right now. That poll catching the attention of 25-year-old YouTube sensation Jake Paul, who tweeted this, quote, "My generation, left or right, agree with me. We need the president of our country to do better." It comes after the influencer slammed Biden over the state of the economy, writing in part, "Biden accomplishments," then listing highest gas prices, worst inflation, plummeting crypto prices, highest rent prices ever, and new incomprehensible, speaking of incomprehensible, that's me, language. And for those of you, who's Jake Paul, you ask? Well, he's got 20 million YouTube followers, was the second highest grossing influencer on the platform last year. He made $45 million. And joining the conversation all morning long, Francis Snoot Stacy and Joe Concha. Joe, Jake Paul's turned against Biden.
And he's not alone, clearly, when you talk about those numbers. I mean, down 30 points since the inauguration among young people who tend to vote Democrat. It just shows you that inflation is felt by the upper class and the lower class and the middle class and obviously old people and young people, right? Everything is more expensive, and it's hard to deny that. But then, you know, Jake Paul talks about the perception of this president, right, in terms of his inability to communicate very basic things. And Joe Biden turns 80 in a couple of months. And we heard from the press secretary yesterday that, oh, yes, he's going to run again in 2024. So you're telling me that the country really is going to embrace an 84, 85-year-old President Biden at this point, considering what we're seeing in his late 70s? I don't think so. Many in his own party, a majority now, don't want him to run in 2024. So it doesn't matter whether you're young or old, Dagan. The perception that this president is incompetent, too old, and too slow to react to crises is very, very real. They
act like it's not happening, Francis. That's part of the problem. And if you're a young person, it's not just the inflation, but now you throw in the crypto collapse. And one of the outstanding questions is how much of that collapse will have on the wealth effect, or how much was the wealth effect helping prop up the economy? But how do you see this?
No, absolutely. I think because he and the administration and the press secretary refused to come out and to have a serious and honest discussion about the mechanics of inflation, which are supply and demand. I mean, it's not overly complicated. I just think nothing they say resonates with voters. And I thought that was the greatest euphemism ever, an incomprehensible language for his struggles. And I just think that even AOC, you know, is not thinking that she's going to back him. So I just think that this really bodes for a super red wave coming, and they're not changing anything. That's the thing. They're unwilling to change anything. It's not working, and they're doubling down, tripling down. Come on, just be honest with the American people.
Right. And also, this isn't just a Biden problem. This is a far left problem. That the entire idea of MMT, modern monetary theory, has been blown up in their faces. Handouts to people helped foment this inflation. So it's not just the Biden Democrat, it's the AOC, far left, progressive, socialist Democrat. It's all of their thinking and all of their policies that have created this nightmare for the American people.